Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Will Charlton. Welcome to another edition of Noteworthy in the NCAA, a weekly podcast here on Playback from the ETB Network. Happy you're joining us on this Monday afternoon, evening, wherever maybe you are watching from. A lot of big news going on around the landscape of college football right now, and we'll even get to some college baseball news at the end of the show. Some pretty interesting topic we usually don't get to on the program here, but the first thing we're going to start with tonight is that Florida has finally pulled the plug on Billy Napier. Billy Napier brought Florida into this year as the preseason number 15 team of the country and are now sitting at 3-4. They did beat Mississippi State 23-21. They held on for the win after a late interception thrown by Blake Shapen at the end of the game as Mississippi State was getting into field goal range. But the Gators decided that it's time to pull the plug on Billy Napier. He just hasn't really accounted to anything much of anything at all. And the Gators have had some struggling seasons. They were expected to be in the upper echelon of the SEC, I guess you'd say, this year. Obviously, when you come into the season ranked 15th, with granted the AP poll, we all know how much the preseason ranking doesn't mean anything at all. But when you look at this Florida team who came into the year with such high expectations, I guess higher than they had been in the past, because I don't know if you could say such high. But you come in preseason ranked, you have a quarterback who people expected to be one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC in DJ Lagway. You got a very good defense, and that has proven itself. That defense has proven itself that is very, very solid. And you got some really nice freshman weapons and wide receivers. They got two really solid true freshman wide receivers on that team. Jaden Baugh has really come out as a really nice running back for that offense. But it's something about you lose a game at home to South Florida. And granted, I know South Florida is a good team. They're still probably the leading contender out of the group of five to make the college football playoff at this point right now. But that's a game you just can't lose at home. You can't lose that game at home. You just cannot lose a game to a team for the American at home. I don't care who you're playing. You just can't do that. And after, they went, 8-5 last year. I think the year before that, they didn't even make a bowl game. Or maybe they did. I can't remember. But I think the highlight of his career probably was beating Utah week 1 of what would that have been, the 2023 season? I think he was still the coach then. That might have been Dan Mullen, but I'm pretty sure he was still the coach then. Because this was his 4th season there. They decided to finally pull the plug on Billy Napier, and they're now turning over their program to someone new. There's a post that On3 put out on Twitter showing Eli Drinkwitz, Lane Kiffin, and Marcus Freeman as 3 potential candidates for the Florida job. I do not think any of those guys will be the coach of Florida. I'd have a very hard time thinking, especially Marcus Freeman. And to see a coach like Lane Kiffin or Eli Drinkwitz go from an SEC school to another SEC school that especially Missouri, who used to play Florida every year, they don't anymore. But I don't know. I think Florida has to make a splash hire. It's got to be someone who has proven himself at the Power 4 level and is able to come in and revive a program Florida obviously was the cream of the crop of programs in the mid to late 2000s. You got 2 national championships sandwiched between 1 year, 06 and 08. And Florida was just a powerhouse. They were a national power in the mid to late 2000s. They have been. They've always historically been a very solid program, but in the last handful of years, whether it was the Billy Napier era, whether it was the Dan Mullen era, actually had some bright spots in it. It definitely did. The 2020 team, if I can't remember who the cornerback threw his shoe was, but if that shoe isn't thrown, that might be a college football playoff team. If that doesn't happen, and the coach before Dan Mullen was Jim McElwain. Florida just hasn't had like a really good. Even Will Muschamp when he was there Florida hasn't had like a big name coach since Urban Meyer. I mean, Florida hasn't had that coach that they really can trust and rely on since Urban Meyer was there. And that is so long ago now. So Florida's got to make a splash hire. They got to hire someone who has been at the Power 4 level and has already made an impact at the school they've been at. And they have the money to do it. I mean, they got SEC boosters behind them. They got the money to do it. But speaking of major conference teams in Florida, how about Florida State? All of a sudden, they still haven't won a conference game since the 2022 season. 2023 season. They didn't win a single one last year. Now they're 0-4 in conference play after losing 20-13 at Stanford, which, mind you, that game was insane, the ending of it. Florida State converts that like Hail Mary-esque throw, and then they get a pass interference on what would have been the final play of the game. So they get a free play from the 2-yard line, but they come up like literally that short based off review. Insane ending. But Mike Norvell, he has got to be on the hot seat as well. And he definitely is. But Florida State came out and made a statement that they are going to stick with him for the rest of this year. And the On3 posted that the all-in cost to fire Norvell and his staff and make the next hires in the $100 million range. His buyout in general is $54.4 million. But man, Norvell is just not been what Florida State's looking for. And the most recent thing that On3 reported on regarding Mike Norvell is that the school released a statement that they're fully committed to him, and they're going to take a comprehensive assessment of where the program's at following the season. So Florida State, they win that big game against Alabama at the start of the year, and since then haven't done a lick of anything. Like, seriously, haven't done anything at all. It's very interesting how a team can basically go, because they got it ranked as high as 5th, 6th, something like that in the AP poll. So yeah, it's pretty wild how literally we're going into week 9 now. So 8 weeks later after that game, all of a sudden you're looking at this and being like, Alabama and Florida State have had two completely different seasons. I mean, Florida State got the win, demolished Alabama at home, and now they're looking awful. Whereas Alabama lost that game and they've turned around in an incredible way. Haven't yet to lose a conference game, and are looking like one of the best teams in the country. Especially with how they just manhandled Tennessee the other night. But yeah, so Mike Norvell also on the hot seat. Definitely going to be curious to look out for what happens there come the end of the season. But as we always do, let's take a look at the brand new AP poll for this week. I'll get it up here so you can see it as well. I'll share my screen here. 1 second. There we go. So yeah, there's the new AP poll. Ohio State now stays at number 1. Indiana jumps up to number 2 after Miami suffers a loss at home to Louisville. Louisville jumps into the rankings at 19. One thing that really kind of baffles me is how BYU is an undefeated team and they're not a top 10 team. I disagree with. I'm very happy Georgia Tech's finally a top 10 team. It's about time. They deserve to be. I'd rather see BYU ranked over Ole Miss and Miami. I would, because I don't know. Like I was very high on Miami up until the Louisville game. Now I really don't know what to make of them. But seeing Georgia Tech at number 7, that's awesome. That's where they should be. I think Alabama's rightfully at 4. Texas A&M's undefeated, so they're 3. That makes a lot of sense. Texas Tech still, they lost a heartbreaker to Arizona State, who found the rankings. Once again, they're 24. So Texas Tech stays at 14. They did not have Baron Morton in that game, so that was a big hurt for the Red Raiders. Notre Dame moves up a spot to 12. Oklahoma's 13. Virginia stays right around where they were after a really close game against Washington State, who has played 2 tough teams back-to-back very well. So maybe the Cougars are turned a corner a little bit after a really awful start to the season. LSU being ranked still after they lost to Vanderbilt on the road. I get it in a sense, but I don't really know what LSU has done, because all of a sudden you're winning against Clemson looks not impressive at all, because Clemson just got kind of ran off their own field by SMU. I think the final score was 34-23 in that game. Texas at 22. I don't get why they're ranked. Texas is not good. Like, I thought they were going to be so much better than they were to start the season. They're not good. Illinois, great to see my Fighting Illini back in there at 23 after a handful of teams from last week's poll lost and now are unranked. Michigan ranked ahead of USC is baffling to me. I don't get how that's possible because USC just put it on Michigan last weekend. But, you know, we are getting really, really close to the first release of the college football playoff poll. Stop sharing. We're getting really close to the first release of the college football playoff poll. When I'm going to look up exactly when it comes up here. Nope, college football playoff poll come out. But yeah, it usually comes out around the start of November. This year, they will come out Tuesday, November 4th. So yeah, the first Tuesday of November is when they will come out for the first time. So we're almost there. We're almost there. We don't have to worry about the AP poll anymore. Zan, I see your question. Yeah, I think Illinois 23 is fine. Illinois has done enough to be ranked with the 5 wins, but hasn't really done enough to be any higher than where they are, I'd say. And I'm right where with you. I have no idea why USC is not ranked, but Michigan is. I don't really get why. I get Michigan had a nice win this week against Washington, but I don't really get what is going on with that at all. I mean, considering that literally USC is at 26 essentially because they got the most receiving votes outside the poll, and Michigan's at 25. I just don't get how. Again, the AP poll is so flawed. Like, we all know this. But we're going to move on now to our final topic of the day, and just some college baseball news as the San Francisco Giants are closing in on hiring Tony Vitello, the head coach of Tennessee, who led the Volunteers to the 2024 College World Series championship. Vitello has been the coach at Tennessee since 2018. He has done great things for the Vols. He's never been a head coach a head manager in the MLB. So this would be the first jump to the major leagues, but he's currently the favorite odds-wise to land that job for the San Francisco Giants. So that's really interesting to keep an eye on. He's done phenomenal with Tennessee. I mean, he's taken them to, 3 different College World Series and 5 Super Regionals. Yeah, he's done great at Tennessee. Like I said, he had the best team in the country 2 years ago, took Tennessee to the College World Series title. So that's a really interesting thing to watch out for. There's nothing on it right now of whether or not he's going to get it, but the last thing that On3 posted about it was that he is the favorite to land the job. So it's pretty interesting. I'm going to just quickly check and make sure there's no other news right now about him. Doesn't look like it as of now. Yeah, it's just been a big waiting game right now. There's no announcement that Vitello he was even at Tennessee's practice today. So we're not really too sure what's going on with it, but he is the favorite to land it right now. So we very much be confirming it on the show this time next week. But that's going to do it for this episode of Noteworthy in the